Is anyone up for a trip down memory lane from 2020? 6 feet apart, of course. Since posting this video about how things have changed since 2020, I got a lot of comments that triggered memories that I'd completely forgotten I had. I remember the first rumblings of the toilet paper shortage, and it felt like a complete joke. It was started off as something funny, and then you started to realise, no, people are actually taking this really seriously. And you'd go into the shops and it would be a barren wasteland in the toilet roll aisle. On the days that there was toilet paper available, people would just be carting it into their shopping trolleys like crazy. And it got so bad where I am, and such a big joke, that when you actually did need toilet paper, you felt embarrassed to have it in your trolley because you'd be looking at other people and think that they're thinking, oh, look at this idiot toilet paper hoarder. It was seen as a shameful thing, but that wasn't to last. Soon the toilet paper madness morphed into strange queues at the grocery stores and supermarkets. Suddenly, what was almost like a real life meme or a bit of a joke started to seep into real life, and people started looking at each other with suspicion, and you almost felt like an enemy of everybody around you. This happened so quickly, from people just being completely normal about their lives to just quaking in fear almost at the sight of another person, or full of anxiety just from the simple act of having to do their shopping for the week. I'm not sure what happened in between. I don't think I paid enough attention to what was on the news, etc. So for me, it felt like 0 to 100, but I'm sure that there was a lot of programming and fear-mongering in between those times. The spaced out queues outside the stores then turned into people becoming completely masked up in so many inventive ways. It seemed like each time you went out, there would be another layer of fear. Then followed the spaced out dots on the floor and all the arrows showing you what way to go. So you felt herded about everywhere you went. Life became this one-way system. From my memory, the grocery stores is where that division really did start, where you really started to see the disagreement between people. You started to see that division being fostered. You would see some people who were absolutely terrified for their lives, understandably so, with all the fear that was getting fed to them at all times. It was 24 hours a day. And then the people who weren't letting it encroach on their life so much, and who were thinking that something just wasn't quite right with this all, you saw how they then got pitted against each other, and then everything just got worse and worse from there. One thing I'll never forget was the whole ritual of clapping up at the sky for the NHS at like 6 p.m. or something every night. And then that transforming into clapping pots and pans.
It was a moment the country came together to say thank you to those who take care of us. Families who had spent the day indoors stepped outside briefly to let the NHS workers know just how much they're appreciated.
We're very thankful for everything you're doing.
For some reason, that became the virtuous thing to do, and I could just imagine some people getting carried away with time and cooking their dinner, having to pour out their pasta, quickly run out with their pot to make a racket. I still, to this day, don't understand how that became a thing. I remember how everybody became so scared of getting caught outside the house, because you would be shown this footage on TV of drones getting used to scout out dog walkers or people out walking in the middle of nowhere. Not that they would be even harming or really coming into contact with anybody, but it felt like that first feeling of, oh, it's a criminal act to go against these so-called guidelines. Looking back, I can see how that must have been intimidating for law-abiding citizens, And the thought of not being able to just freely go out and have a walk just feels completely alien to say now. And it wasn't even that long ago that this was happening. But I remember a number of conversations of people already getting confused. Maybe that was the point all along, to keep people confused. But they were saying, why, if you can be 6 feet apart from somebody, then what harm are you doing out in the middle of nowhere? Nothing made sense at this time. All the memories feel a bit jumbled from that time because it felt like things were contradicting themselves at every angle. When it came to these masks, 1 minute it would be, right, you have to wear a mask coming into a shop, but if you sit down with something you've ordered, you can take it off and you're all good. But as soon as you stand up and start to walk, you need to put it back on, and it just felt like this game of charades or this game of musical chairs almost.
So after the new rules come in at midnight tonight, if I go into a cafe like this one to buy something to take away, I have to put my mask on. But if I come over here to sit down to eat, I can take it off. And it's up to the cafe owner and other business owners to decide how to enforce these rules.
And at that time, every single news outlet seemed to just have one focus, which was this event. Everything else seemed to fall to the wayside. I don't really remember any news from that time. I did try and avoid the news a lot, but I don't remember any big news happening for such a long period of time. I don't know if my memories have just become so jumbled up because time has just become warped from that period. But if that is the case for other people, then it really makes me understand how it got so into people's heads and how a lot of people must have just been driven crazy by all the conflicting information, the fear-mongering, the division. I remember new adverts coming out and they would even be steered towards the whole situation. Like every advert would say, oh, through these unprecedented times or in this unforeseen time. It almost became a selling point. It was so bizarre because everything that wasn't even related to this event became related to it. It was like everything in the world was this. It all became one. I'm sure many people even cashed in on this with their strange inventions. One that I remember is the nose mask for when you were eating.
Kind of mask designed to help people who might be nervous about eating in restaurants. Researchers in Mexico created a nose-only mask. They believe it will reduce the risk of infection while still allowing people to eat and talk. However, the World Health Organization still recommends people wear a mask that covers the nose, mouth, and chin. It looks interesting.
I don't know if I can get used to that.
Clowns have been doing it for years, right? So
you would have never dreamed in a million years of this being something you'd see on national TV. And looking at it now actually makes me kind of sad just to see how much fear had been put into people, that they would think this was a normal thing to do. Now, I'm sure the people who were all for it back then, if you ask them whether they want to do that now, they would scoff. Even they would scoff at you, say absolutely no way. But it was seen as oh yeah, that's a really good idea just back then. It's like all sense of normalcy was completely turned on its head and the unthinkable became reality. As a business owner at the time, I do remember that fear that was fed about how my business could be shut down, and it was this uncertainty. And out came videos of police going in and rumbling illegal activity, almost like it was a drug den.
We're not meant to be operating, are we?
Sorry, I thought we could do it like this.
Yeah.
Why would you be able to do it like this?
Because they're from home.
It's nearly been a year now, people know.
Alright, it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Even if you're a home-run business or not.
Everyone knows the regulations by now. It's on the news every day, it's in the papers, and it's going on nearly a year. It's £200 fine for the ladies as customers, and it's £1,000 for the business.
Even just trying to have a walk or have a sit on a park bench became an offence.
So when we spoke earlier,
I'd said, I'd asked you why you're out. You said you were exercising mentally.
I am, yes.
Okay. I said, well, I don't think that's in the spirit of what's happening.
Well, I'm in the spirit of social distancing. I'm sat here on my own. I'm not infecting anyone.
You know,
that's the actual spirit.
Right. Do you know who else has been sat with us?
I don't know, and quite frankly, I'm not afraid, to be honest. If I catch something, I catch it.
Right,
I'm only infecting myself.
So,
no one sat near me.
Well, that's because I've just moved everyone else on.
That's good, yeah.
Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to ask is, would you be willing to go home?
I can't get over the fact that sitting on a park bench was enough of a reason for the police to be allowed to come and send you home. It was like an open air prison. Something that still breaks my heart now is how the elderly were treated. People being unable to go and visit their elderly relatives. And when you know how much interaction matters, especially to elderly who are stuck in care homes, they can really start to decline quickly when they're not getting that mental stimulation. And I mean, you'd have no idea how much mental stimulation and company they were getting from the workers in the care homes. So many people will have seen such a decline in their elderly relatives or missed out on time with them that they'll never get back because a lot of them will have passed on. There was this one video that I still can barely watch of this old lady desperate for her son to be able to come in and see her. And she can't understand why he won't come in and see her. He's just staying outside the window. And she could see her heart breaking in real time. At funerals, people not even being able to sit with their grieving mother.
We've been asked to conduct our service today to celebrate the life of Alan Wright. I therefore offer you all a very warm welcome as we unite in love and friendship to...
Something that gives me the real heebie-jeebies is watching footage of people hugging through plastic sheets.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, where does my face go? Oh my God! Oh my God! What a bizarre touching moment. Oh, I don't want to let go. I'm not going to let go. Oh, there you are. Oh, there you are.
And it was painted like some sort of heartwarming, touching moment, when really it's like the biggest dystopian nightmare you've ever seen. Something that feels extra eerie and strange to watch is all the videos of the TikTok dancing nurses. I couldn't understand how we were told, oh, they're absolutely overwhelmed everywhere, and yet all this footage of these dancing nurses kept coming out. It was the most bizarre, conflicting thing. Getting told one thing while seeing another thing with your own eyes. It just added to more confusion, division. That's what it felt like everything was, to divide opinion, to divide the people. So we were busy arguing between ourselves. And so when a certain thing became available for the public to get, along with it came an absolute hatred, an onslaught of hatred that you could never even imagine possible, that pitted families against each other, lifetime friends against each other.
I don't want them sitting next to me in the theatre. I don't want them standing next to me at the theatre bar. I don't want them next to me or anywhere near me or even in the same carriage on the train. So, yeah, they can exercise their freedom by staying at home.
You can't go into a pub, club, restaurant, gymnasium, anywhere at all. You can't travel, theatre. You can't even go into work. I mean, personally, I have to say, I don't even think that we should allow people on the streets unless they've had the vaccine.
Or even strangers, celebrities, TV, news hosts, having and spouting opinions about whether you should even be allowed hospital treatment or even to live or have any sort of freedom.
If someone in your family isn't vaccinated, should you ask them not to show up?
Yes, I would do that. I mean, I think we're dealing with a serious enough situation right now that if there's an unvaccinated person, I would say, I'm very sorry, but not this time.
Friends star Jennifer Aniston is cutting ties with people in her life who are unvaccinated.
We have to stop coddling the morons who will not get the shot.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say, it's mandatory to get vaccinated. F them, their freedom. I want my freedom to live.
They are all snowflakes and cowards and idiots and losers.
So many fearful people had pressure coming through them, through the TV screen. I'm sure it would almost feel like a physical pressure being put onto them.
As this becomes absolutely a pandemic of the unvaccinated and we open everything up, it's not going to be safe for people who are not vaccinated to be roaming around the place spreading the virus. That's what they'll be doing.
I'm masking up again. I'm taking more precautions again. I'm vaccinated, fully vaccinated. And because half of us aren't, and because the kids can't, we're backsliding. This is a pandemic, really, of the unvaccinated.
They should have the decency to remove themselves from the community. If they refuse to do that, then measures have to be taken to safeguard the community from them. Then comes the practical question that you ask, how can we get food to them? Well, that's actually their problem. Of course, if they really become destitute, then yes, you'd have to move in with some measure to secure their survival, just as you do with people in jail, for example.
This is not about freedom or personal choice. It's about protecting yourself and those around you, the people you work with, the people you care about, the people you love.
Vaccine, 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 vaccine. Because once you're dead, then that's a bit too late.
It was like a complete hypnosis put on the majority of people, and anybody who did have questions or dared to ask questions were seen as an enemy. And when I'm trying to piece everything together through video footage, I honestly can't comprehend that what I'm watching is real, and the whole world just became completely topsy-turvy. But what gets me is how that whole period of time was all about one topic. Everybody in life was absolutely obsessed, and it felt like there was no light at the end of the tunnel, that this was going to go on forever. And I can't put my finger on when it suddenly stopped. I wonder if anybody can help me with this. I've been thinking about this so much, and I can't remember when suddenly nobody was wearing masks anymore in the shops. There was no more lining up. All the plastic sheets got pulled down. Of course, you can't really have a free commentary on this subject on YouTube, so it's just a short walk down memory lane today. Thanks for watching.